This is Math Expressions Unit 7, Lesson 1. And let's start off, as always, put our name and a class number if you have one up at the top, and then over here the date that you're working on this page. And this is start of a new unit, and we're going to start off this unit by looking at liquid volume. These words right here, liquid volume, right here. If you haven't already done so, on the website where you found this lesson, right above that should be a watch this, should be a video that just kind of is a quick overview of liquid volume. So if you haven't seen that video, I recommend you do that. Otherwise, let's just jump right into it. So the directions are to choose the unit, and it says to choose the best unit to use to measure the liquid volume. And then we're going to write cup, pint, quart, or gallon, or we could actually write more than one because you could kind of argue either way, right? Over here, back over here, it shows you the abbreviations: C for cup, PT for pint, QT for quart, gal for gallon, and then fluid ounces. So we could use those as well. I'm going to probably just write out the words. So let's look at number one. A carton of heavy cream. So you think about heavy cream is what you would use to make like whipped cream and stuff like that. So think about it. Would that carton be the size of a cup, a pint, a quart, or a gallon? Well, this is one where you could argue it kind of depends on how much you need, right? Because it comes in different sizes. I would say most of the time you would find it in cup or pints. That's what I would say most of the time. You could find a quart, you could find gallons of it, but that's what I would say. Now think about, let's look at number two now, a flower vase. Again, you could argue, well, there's different size flower vases, so what do you think is the best one? Why don't you go ahead and fill that in, and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so a flower vase is probably going to be more than a cup. I mean, there's usually, but so you could argue pint or quart. I don't know many flower vases that you would use a gallon of water. Now, swimming pool, pretty straightforward. Go ahead and fill that in. Yep. Yeah, the best one would be to use gallons on that one. Now, a wash tub, number 4, wash tub. I'm not sure if they mean a bathtub or a sink, or what do they mean by that. But of the options they give us, either way, it's going to be kind of a lot of water, right? Or kind of a lot of liquid. So I would argue, go ahead and do what you think, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, I would say a wash tub, probably gallons, but possibly quarts as well. Gallon would be my first choice. All right, so let's go ahead and look on down to the next section. What's the error? Here's our friend Puzzle Penguin. He says, Dear math students, today I had to choose the best unit to use to measure how much water I needed to fill a kitchen sink. I said the best unit to use is cups. Is my answer correct? If not, please correct my work and tell me what I did wrong. Your friend Puzzle Penguin. All right. So again, what do you think? Cups. He's using cups. Sorry for the moving around there. He's using cups. And what do you think would be a better, right? I mean, sure, you could use cups, right? You could use cups to how many cups does your sink hold? And of course, it depends on the size of your sink. But what would be the best? Because it says the best unit to measure. So what would be the best? Go ahead and write an answer down below. And then we'll go on. All right, so I'm going to argue for gallons. So hopefully you wrote gallons, although you could also, like we said, quarts. Gallons or quarts. but usually sinks hold gallons, things like that. All right, we're not going to do the math journal. So, yep, let's go ahead, and when you're ready, we'll go on to the next lesson page. All right, and let's go ahead and go on if you're ready to go. Next page. So just in case, I'm going to go ahead and put my name and number up here at the top, and then the date over here that you're working on this page. I think it's just a good habit to get into doing this so that you've got a good record of who you are and on what day you're working on this page. So on these pages. So we're going to continue with customary units. Now this is customary are the units like cups and quarts and gallons and pints and things like that that are used pretty much just in the United States and maybe another country, but most of the world uses the metric system, which we'll learn about in another lesson. But again, we're talking about liquid volume, which is the liquid inside a container. Now, so here we go. So the directions say to ring, which is another word for circle or loop, the better estimate about how much, right? So for example, let's look at this baby bottle. Do you think that baby bottle would hold 2 cups of liquid or 2 quarts of liquid? Go ahead and answer that, and then I'll show you what I do. Yep. Hopefully you got 2 cups, right? 2 quarts is a pretty good amount of liquid. So, how about a fish tank, number 8 over here? Fish tank, 5 cups or 5 gallons? Well, it depends on how big, of course, but let's say this is a pretty big one. So go ahead, and I'll show you what I do. Yep, hopefully you got 5 gallons on that one. Okay, let's look at number 9. This is a teapot. So do you think it's going to hold a pint or a gallon? Yep, hopefully you chose the pint. And then just a glass that you'd use just to get a glass of water. Do you think it's going to hold a cup or a pint? Now, I'm going to argue that you could go either way on this one. In our house, we have a lot of these glasses, and they actually hold pints. You could argue, depending on the size, that it might be a cup, but if it's a tall glass like that, it can hold a pint for sure. A snow globe, number 11, a snow globe. Do you think it's got a cup or a gallon? Yeah, hopefully you chose a cup there. And then a bathtub, last one, number 12 here. 30 cups or 30 gallons? Yep. Hopefully you chose the 30 gallons. Good job. Okay, so let's look at the next one, number 13. Solve. I like the directions. Solve this problem. Number 13. Jamie makes a shopping list for a picnic with his 4 friends. He estimates that he'll need 5 quarts of lemonade for the group to drink. Do you think his estimate is reasonable? And explain. Okay, so he's making a shopping list for a picnic. They're going to go on a picnic with his 4 friends. So there's actually going to be 5 of them, right? Because it's Jamie and his 4 friends. So we have 5 people. And he says that he thinks that he'll need 5 quarts of lemonade for the group to drink. Do you think his estimate is reasonable? So you're going to start off by saying yes or no, period, and then explain why do you think it is reasonable. All right. And then, so go ahead, pause the video, and then when you're ready to go on, start back up. All right. And when you're ready, let's go on to the next page. Okay. So again, this may be a different day. So let's go ahead and put our information up there. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and go on. This one says, use drawings to solve problems. And so you guys all know that I'm a visual learner. And if I can see pictures, it helps me learn better, right? So I of course love this page because I can see the pictures and it makes more sense. So the directions say to use the drawing to represent and solve the problem. So let's go ahead and look at number 14 together. A painter mixed 5 pints of yellow and 3 pints of blue paint to make green paint. how many pints of green paint did he make? So looking at this picture over here, you can see those little hashed lines down on the bottom here. And if we count them, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? We could see that if we started off, we could use this to go, if you start off with 5 pints, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right up to there. And then you can see that above it is 3, right? So this is the 5 pints, and this is the 3, right? How much pints of green paint did he make? So we're going to go, he started off with 5, and then he added 3, and he came up with 8. And how many pints? And he came up with 8 pints. And we could say of green paint if we want to. I think pints would be enough, but that's a complete answer. So that's what you're going to do on this page. You're going to, I'll read the problems for you, and but then it'll be your task to use the drawings, and if it helps you, like I did right there, to go ahead and mark out so you can see a little bit clearer, and then you're going to write an equation like I did over here with your answer. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll read the problem, and then you could pause the video, work it out on your own, or just keep going however you want to do the page. So here we go, number 15. Ryan bought a bottle of orange juice that had 16 fluid ounces. He poured 6 fluid ounces in a cup. How many fluid ounces are left in the bottle? All right, so go ahead and do all the parts on that one, and then continue, or just go ahead and go on with me. All right, so hopefully you're ready to go. Let's go to number 16. A restaurant made 8 quarts of tea. They used all the tea to fill pitchers that hold 2 quarts each. How many pitchers were filled with tea? This one's a little bit trickier, where they start off with 8, and then they're going to be taking 2 quarts out at a time. So they're groups of 2, right? So how many pitchers were filled? That's a little bit more tricky, but you can think about it. So they're dividing, I'll give you a hint, dividing those 8 quarts into groups of 2 quarts. All right, so go ahead and work on that one. And when you're ready, let's go on to 17. All right, number 17. An ice cream machine, yay, makes 5 pints of ice cream in a batch. So if you look at, like, here, we'll call that one batch. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 5 pints of ice cream in a batch. So each of these container holds 5. If 3 batches were made, how many pints of ice cream were made? All right, so go ahead and finish up that one. And then when you're ready to go, we'll look at number 18. All right, number 18. Here we go. Fran has a water jug that holds 24 quarts of water. She fills it with a container that holds 4 quarts. How many times, that's a big one, how many times must she fill the 4-quart container and pour it into the jug to fill a jug with 24 quarts? Okay, so she wants to fill up all 24, and she's going to do that 4 quarts at a time, right? So she's going to take like a smaller jug and then pour it into the bigger jug. And the smaller jug holds 4 quarts, and the bigger jug holds 24 quarts. So how many times 4 quarts is it going to take to get to 24 quarts? So hopefully you guys can see that one pretty straightforward. And then when you're ready, we'll go on to the next lesson. All right, so not next lesson, but next page. So here we go. Let's go on to the next page of this lesson. And of course, even though there's not a line for it, let's go ahead and put our information up there at the top. And when you're ready to go, we'll go on. All right, so right here it says solve problems. Solve problems. I like that. Solve problems. This is what we're going to do. We're going to solve problems. The directions say to use the drawing to represent and solve the problems. So number 19 here, Shanna bought 8 juice boxes filled with her favorite juice. Each box holds 10 fluid ounces. How many fluid ounces of her favorite juice did Shanna buy? And then over here it says to show your work. So, so here's what we can do. So here's our picture, which of course I love. They have pictures. And, there's our 8 juice boxes. And each one holds 10. So I could go, okay, so 10, 10, 10. I could put 10 in each of those, right? And you guys could see pretty clearly that this is 8 groups of 10, right? So because each box holds 10 ounces, fluid ounces, how much will that be altogether? So 8 times 10, of course, is 80. And fluid, F-L-O-Z. Remember those abbreviations from the other page, from the first page, I think. All right, so that's your task on this page. Again, I'm going to read each problem for you. You can then pause it after I read it, pause the video after I read it, finish up, and then go on, or you can just kind of at your own pace here. So let's look at number 20. Juana filled her punch bowl with 12 cups of punch. She gave some to her friends. She gave some of her friends each a cup of punch. There are 7 cups of punch left in the bowl. How many cups did she give to her friends? So again, try to use the drawing, try to show on there what's going on in this problem, and write your equation and your answer over here. And our answer is how many cups. That's the label that we're going to use, right? When you're ready to go on, let's look at number 21. All right, number 21 says, Mrs. Chavez made 20 quarts of pickles. She made 4 quarts each day. How many days did it take her to make the pickles? So looking at these drawings over here, 4 quarts each day. So I'm looking at, this must be 1 quart, 2, 3, 4. So I think each line on these bottles represents a quart. So this would be 1 day's worth of pickles. So it's pretty straightforward. But go ahead and write your equation here with your answer. How many days, remember that's our label, how many days did it take her to make the pickles? And then when you're ready to go on, let's look at the last problem. All right, number 22. A mid-sized aquarium holds 25 gallons of water. That's this one here. And the large aquarium holds 35 gallons of water. That's this one. How many gallons of water is needed to fill both aquariums? Right? So how many will you need to fill? How many gallons? So how many gallons, right? That's our label. So go ahead, again, write your equation here with your answer. And for the fun of it, we usually don't do this, but I think that you can do this. Name the 5 units of liquid volume in this lesson from largest to smallest. So what was the largest amount of liquid? And then the next size down, the next size down, the next size down. Okay, so you're starting off with the largest to smallest. All right, and that's the end of Unit 7, Lesson 1.